It's a moment EastEnders fans have longed for, and it's one that is almost upon us, with Ross Kemp's comeback as Grant Mitchell reuniting him with siblings Sam and Phil together for the first time in a decade. Be still our beating hearts. It's been almost 4 decades since the dawn of the Mitchell era in Walford, with Grant and Phil, Steve McFadden, rocking up in the square all the way back in 1990, with Sam following shortly after. While all 3 characters have popped up at various points throughout the subsequent 3 decades, with Phil remaining a permanent fixture of the square for pretty much of all it. The trio have rarely been together at the same time outside of that initial stint, so this reunion truly is a big moment for the show. Grant is on his way back to Walford for old mate Nigel Bates, Paul Bradley, who is now in a care home with advanced stages of dementia. Phil has been instrumental in supporting Nigel, who saved his life last year after he struggled with his mental health. In the months since, the former mechanic has assisted his friend's wife Julie, Karen Henthorne, with the duo becoming Nigel's carers. Grant, meanwhile, made a historic return last year as part of EastEnders' 40th anniversary to be there for brother Phil amid his mental health crisis, and, as fans hoped at the time, he's on his way back to be there for Nigel. Estranged son Mark Fowler Jr., Stephen Aaron Sipple, is initially responsible for bringing Grant back, suggesting that he contact the show legend after receiving word that Nigel's pneumonia has worsened. Sam tells him it's fruitless, revealing that she's tried getting in touch with Grant numerous times to no avail, and she's struck with just how far they've drifted apart following the death of their mum Peggy, Barbara Windsor. Grant's return will officially reunite him with sister Sam, who he last shared the screen with in 2016, thus making it the first time all 3 Mitchell siblings have been together in over a decade. While actor Ross shared the screen briefly with star Kim Metcalf during her initial stint in 2005, most of his scenes with Sam have been opposite previous actress Daniela Westbrook. Fans had hoped that Sam, who staged an unexpected comeback last year, would be around for Grant's return, with viewers delighted when they learned that star Kim would be staying put for now after Sam's cancer storyline reached its conclusion. Discussing his EastEnders return, Ross Kemp said earlier this year, "I'm truly delighted to be stepping back into Grant Mitchell's shoes and returning to EastEnders later this year. As well as exploring Grant's attempts to reconnect with his son Mark, it's especially an honor to be part of Nigel's powerful ongoing dementia storyline, which holds deep personal meaning for me, due to a close family connection in real life. The Mitchells are back in Walford, and the square will never be the same again. A storm has been building off-screen for years, but now it finally hits in full force as Grant Mitchell makes his explosive return to EastEnders, dragging with him old grudges, unfinished business, and the kind of volatile energy that once made him one of Walford's most feared men. From the very first glimpse of his comeback, it's clear. This isn't a quiet reunion. It's a detonation waiting to happen. The opening moments of Grant's return are pure Mitchell chaos. The square is going about its usual business, misplaced gossip, strained relationships, and fragile truces, when the atmosphere subtly shifts. A familiar engine sound cuts through the noise. A black car pulls in slowly, deliberately. People notice. People always notice when a Mitchell is back. And then he steps out. Grant Mitchell, played once again by Ross Kemp, doesn't need an introduction. His presence alone rewrites the mood of every scene he enters. The swagger is still there, but it's heavier now, less reckless youth, more hardened experience. Time hasn't softened him. It's sharpened him. First, no one is quite sure how to react. Some residents of Walford freeze. Others pretend not to care. But nobody ignores him. Not really. Because Grant Mitchell doesn't just arrive in a place, he disrupts it. His return to EastEnders immediately reopens old wounds, especially within the Mitchell family. Phil Mitchell is the first to feel the impact. Their history is complicated, violent, and deeply emotional in the way only brothers can be when love and rivalry are permanently entangled. Phil has built a fragile empire of control in Grant's absence, but Grant's return threatens to destabilize everything. The first confrontation between the brothers is not loud. That would be too easy. Instead, it's controlled, icy, and far more dangerous. 2 men staring at each other across decades of resentment. Every word is loaded. Every pause is a challenge. And beneath it all is something neither of them fully admit. They understand each other better than anyone else ever could. But Grant hasn't returned just for family tension. Walford has changed, and so has he. There's a sense that he's arrived with unfinished business, something darker, more personal. Early clues suggest old enemies may not be as buried as they believed. People who thought they were safe begin to realize a painful truth. Grant Mitchell doesn't forget. Sharon Watts is also drawn back into his orbit almost immediately. Their history is one of the most iconic and turbulent relationships in EastEnders history. Love, betrayal, loyalty, and devastation all tangled together. When Grant looks at Sharon this time, it's not just nostalgia. It's unresolved emotion, buried anger, and a connection that refuses to die quietly. Sharon, however, is not the same woman she once was. Life has reshaped her in ways Grant may not be ready to accept, and that tension becomes one of the most compelling threads of his return. Can you ever truly go back to something that once broke you both? As Grant reestablishes himself in Walford, it becomes clear that his return isn't just personal. It's strategic. He's watching, calculating, assessing who has power now and who is pretending to. The square's current power dynamics feel fragile under his gaze. Even those who don't know his history can sense it. This is a man who changes outcomes just by standing in the room. There's also a growing suspicion that Grant isn't alone in his agenda. Rumors begin to circulate about what triggered his return in the first place. Some say it's money. Others say revenge. A few whisper something more dangerous, that Grant is running from something just as much as he is running toward it. What makes this return so gripping is that it doesn't rely on nostalgia alone. It uses history as fuel, not decoration. Every interaction feels loaded with past consequences. Every smile hides a calculation. Every argument feels like it could tip into something irreversible. The Mitchell family dynamic, already volatile, begins to fracture further. Old loyalties are tested. New alliances start forming in unexpected places. And Phil, despite his efforts to maintain control, finds himself increasingly reacting rather than leading. Grant's presence exposes just how much Phil has been holding things together through sheer force of will, and how fragile that control really is. Meanwhile, the wider square reacts in predictable ways. Curiosity, fear, and opportunism. Some residents see Grant's return as a threat. Others see opportunity. Because where Mitchells go, drama follows, and where drama follows, secrets rarely stay buried for long. The tension builds steadily rather than explosively at first, which makes it more unnerving. A phone call here. A lingering look there. A conversation cut short the moment Grant walks in. It's clear something is coming, but no one is sure exactly what form it will take. And then just when things seem like they might stabilize, Grant does what he has always done best. He raises the stakes. A confrontation long awaited, inevitable, teeters on the edge of violence. Voices rise. Accusations fly. Past betrayals are dragged into the present with brutal clarity. And in that moment, it becomes obvious that Grant Mitchell hasn't returned to Walford to make peace. He's returned to settle scores. What follows promises to reshape the Mitchell family forever. Alliances will be tested. Secrets will surface. And Walford will once again learn a lesson it never seems to retain for long. When a Mitchell comes home, nothing stays calm for very long. Grant's explosive return is not just a comeback. It's a reminder, a warning, and possibly the beginning of another downfall. His own or someone else's. Either way, Walford is about to change again. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to EastEnders Spoilers Official.